here based on things. So we're watching this tornado warning now in Iroquois County, and we'll continue to monitor. Let's go ahead and bring the graphics full real quick. If we can bring max 2 full for me. And we're going to adjust some things behind the scenes and get set here as we have this tornado warning that was just issued moments ago by the National Weather Service. This will include Cissna Park. It will include Milford. It will include areas to the north of Hoopeston. I do not have a warning in Vermilion County at this point. But we're watching that storm that has spun up near Cissna Park. You can see those counties and those towns that are in that warning and will continue to be so here for a little while longer. Quick update on the text here. The warning is going to go until 9:15, so we'll likely be here for a little while longer. If we can as well, let's go ahead and let news know. We normally have WCIX news at 9. We're going to go ahead and probably blow that out for a bit. We also are now on CBS streaming with this tornado warning. This will include Cissna Park. It will include areas north of Rankin on Illinois 49 between Rankin and Cissna Park. That's the immediate concern. Illinois 1 north of Hoopeston towards Wellington, and Milford also the main concern right now. Not concerned at this point for Gilman, Oarnaga, Watseka up towards Donovan. This is southern Iroquois County with this rotation that's moving on into the area, so we're going to monitor it pretty closely here. The time now is 8:53. I'm WCIA3 meteorologist Jacob Dickey. Some updates for you if you need to. You're in that area, you need to head to your shelter. You can head to your shelter and use the WCIA3 weather app. We're going to watch and stream through that, so you can turn the volume up on your TV and head to your shelter immediately right now. Most concerned for Cissna Park. Need to head to your shelter as we watch this tornado warning for Iroquois County. That goes at least until 9:15 here. Other than that, let's go ahead and pull the sky cam if we can. I'd like to put that up real fast for a quick second and show that. I'm going to get some information out posted to our digital platforms. And we want to look at the sky cam, the weather camera, and weather camera 1 if we can. The sky cam, I'd like to get that up and take a look off to the east here. If you guys can pull that in the back for me, that'd be real helpful. We want to look at the storm from our Champaign camera and point it off to the north and east. So again, control, if you can pull the sky cam, the weather metrics camera, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so I'm going to have to pull that in myself here. That's fine. Let me just pull that up then real fast. There we are. We're looking to the north and east from Champaign. This storm's been an electric storm and has continued to have lots of lightning. In fact, the average rate of lightning with this storm was over 2,000 strikes an hour. A very powerful storm now in southern Iroquois County as we monitor. As we're live here on TV and on digital platforms. So we're watching the storm here, and we'll bring it back to radar in just a second. All right, the time now continue to be 8:54. Now that I've got my digital content posted, we've got notices put through the app. We've got our Facebook updated and Twitter. Let's go ahead and talk more about this particular storm and watch it here and take a zoom in. So you go ahead and bring me back on camera, and I'll point things out. We've just got one cluster of storms here in southern Iroquois County. Lots of folks watching elsewhere. DeWitt County, there's a line of gusty showers pushing through. No severe threat with that at this time. More off to the west. We'll really focus on Iroquois County. I know a lot of folks are out and about tonight for the Champaign County Fair, places like that. This storm right here, though, is the main concern here. Here's Illinois 49. You get through Cissna Park. Once you take the loop to the east and then back to the north, the school district sits there on the northeast side of town. This storm due over Cissna Park with some strong rotation at this point. I'll show you our velocity, and we'll have to look at a couple of different angles here. These greens showing inbound winds really picking up. The reds showing winds coming around here. That likely tornado very near or just east of Cissna Park, moving off to the south and east here at about 30 miles an hour. That's using our Chicago radar. We'll take a look at another vantage point and another one just to get as many looks at this storm as we can. But that area very near Cissna Park at this point is my main concern. Buckley, Loda, Lake Iroquois, Bales Lake, not concerned about you. This is to the east. Fountain Creek, Goodwine, Wellington, Hoopeston to the north on Illinois 1 right now. From Milford to the south also concerned with this storm, but for areas by Watseka, not really concerned at this point there. What I want to do real quick is remind you, if you have any information or power outages, you can let us know in the chat. We're monitoring that as best we can here and continuing to watch, and we'll continue to do so as we monitor this particular storm moving on in. So if we can, let's bring the graphics full real quick. And I want to go ahead and try and get my stream online taken care of and make sure we're monitoring that correctly and pop it on in here. So We're watching this and continuing to monitor this particular storm here very near Cissna Park as it moves off to the south and to the east. We'll continue to watch this storm as long as need be. Our job and our duty here at WCIA is to bring back bring coverage to those who are being impacted by the storm. This one little area of rotation right now just to the east of Cissna Park still has my eye and continues to do so for a while, but a lot of heavy rain. Wellington, Prairie Green, Goodwine, Fountain Creek, areas north of Hoopeston. There's no tornado warning at this point for Vermilion County. We've got two different National Weather Service offices that filter that area in. But that's going to be what we continue monitoring here and continue to watch. We know there's a campground very near Goodwine called Timber Meadows. Folks there need to be sheltering. We're really just primarily focused on the southern Iroquois County, and you can kind of get an indication of where that rotation is and what's happening, especially when I pull that velocity back on. I'm going to pull a different product here really fast and give you another view. You'll see here those greens, a sign of winds surging to the south, those reds, a sign of wind surging into the storm. That circulation in my mind now is sitting due 2 miles east of Cissna Park. Still Cissna Park, I need you in your shelter at this point. And we'll be sure, and we look at our debris tracker as well, using our different radar sites here to make sure we're not seeing a tornado down at this point. And by everything I'm looking at, strong rotation, the main indication. But we are not seeing any confirmation based on radar of a tornado down in the Cissna Park area. Still, though, a sign of some strong rotation very near Cissna Park here at 8:58. As we continue to look across the area, strong winds are continuing to push on in here. Northeastern Vermilion County, let's go ahead and bring camera 1 up here real fast. Northeastern Vermilion County, you can bring me full here, there we go, is also under a severe thunderstorm warning. This goes until 9:15. This will include Hoopeston and Bismarck, areas east of Potomac. Basically, the Route 1 corridor from Hoopeston through Rossville and Bismarck, east of Potomac towards the state line, east of Rankin, including East Lynn and Hoopeston. That's a severe thunderstorm warning. No tornado warning for that area as of now, but we'll continue to watch it and monitor that pretty closely here for a little while longer. The only warning we have is still that tornado warning in the Iroquois County area. We'll watch the general trend here with that south and eastward motion. It's something I still think we need to continue to monitor. I'd like to give you some tips, though. If you're watching us in southeastern Iroquois County, what we want here is we want this to have proceed to your safe place, leave your mobile home, get out of a car, in, down, and up. Remember, getting inside, most interior room. We want to get max 1 on the quad, please. Most interior room down as low as you can and covering up with blankets, pillows, and a mattress. Let's go ahead and bring max 2 full as well if we can. We're showing those tips for under a tornado warning. Staying until all clear will give you that all clear. And watching our coverage online, of course, or you can turn the TV up and have the volume help to give you that information here. I'm using another product here that I like to look at storms in as many ways as possible to understand what's happening. This is the Iroquois County right here. There's Ford County. You've got Paxton, Gibson City, Melvin, Roberts, Thawville, Gilman, Onarga, Buckley, Loda, Paxton. Hoopeston sits right here. There's Rankin. This primarily is near Cissna Park still. And as I zoom on in here, you'll see this almost little notch feature picking up right in here. There's Illinois 49 carries you to the north. We've got Illinois 1 right here, Milford, Hoopeston. This storm right here still has my eye, not moving all that fast, but still moving slow enough where we're going to say some of the things at the same time. We know in TV when we're doing wall-to-wall coverage, folks come in, they come out, they turn it on, they get the alert, and so we continue to repeat that same information for new viewers that we welcome here for our severe weather coverage with the tornado warning in Iroquois County. We'll look at the velocity again here, and you can see right to the east of Cissna Park some of those greens and reds coming together. As I look back a little bit, kind of backing it up a bit, that rotation really looks fairly decent still at this point. I'm not overly concerned of really anywhere else in the area, but I think Cissna Park, Fountain Creek, there's a campground down there by Goodwine. Those areas are my main concern. If you live in Milford, I think Milford proper is going to be okay at this point. I give it all clear there. Anyone south of Milford, though, the next mile or a couple of miles south on Illinois 1, that's also an area of concern here. Areas from north of Hoopeston, north of East Lynn, I'd be watching with Vermilion County addresses, with Iroquois County addresses, more concern for the Fountain Creek and also for Cissna Park at this point. That circulation Still very close to Cessna Park, but I have no update with the area of rotation yet at this time. Let's go ahead and bring back those tornado warning precautions up full screen if we can here. Again, if you're under that tornado warning, I just got an update that I want to check real fast. We bring that max to full, and we'll bounce back full, camera full as we move on through. Under that tornado warning, that's going to be those tips again for our friends that are in Iroquois County. We're still watching some other areas of spin that is a concern here for the area. Let's go ahead and bring camera 1 up now, and I'll talk a little more about what we're looking at. This is the area-wide view at this point. Folks, in Champaign-Urbana, we don't have anything concern here in Champaign County. Danville, no concern there. We've got no concern in Decatur or even in Springfield. And there's a few showers out there. We're going to watch this little batch of storms as it continues to the south and east here. Iroquois County, the main focus right now. The next in line is going to be northeastern Vermilion if this storm is able to hold together. We want to make sure we take a big vantage point, broad view to make sure everyone's aware. We're not talking about your area. That's because there's not a whole lot going on here. Yeah, there's some gusty showers and whatnot. We'll update periodically, but the focus at this point is going to be for southeastern Iroquois County. Getting an update from the National Weather Service as I zoom in here, they're saying that while the initial circulation near Cessna Park is showing some signs of weakening a little bit, they're watching a new one develop near Claytonville and moving towards the county line. So Vermilion County here, you've got Wellington, Claytonville sits in there as well. We're going to watch all of this area here in far southern Iroquois County. If it continues, it may trek its way into northern Vermilion County. So East Lynn, Hoopeston, maybe even as far south as Rossville. If you're in those areas, the best advice is to be watching closely. If you need a little extra time to shelter or you need to make sure your shelter is cleared out, go ahead and take that time now just in case this storm continues. Fingers crossed here. We get this warning to die out and we're done here at 9:15. We'll be back on WCIX News. But if the warning is extended into Vermilion County, then that's going to be East Limb, Rossville, and Hoopeston next in line. Just a severe thunderstorm warning at this point, but no immediate concern for areas down by Danville. Danville, Georgetown, Ridge Farm, Catlin, Jamaica Saddle. Not worried about your part of the county. It would be far northeastern Vermilion County at this point that has my eye as we continue to watch here. Let's jump back to our velocity and talk about things a little bit from a radar vantage point. Again, you're seeing that circulation near Cessna Park has now moved off to the east. At this point, areas along and west of Illinois 49, I can give the all clear to. Though I still think south of Cessna Park, a couple of miles, you get past the second set of curves there outside of town, that first set of curves on 49 between Rankin, you go north. From there south to the county line, I'm still watching that area, and then also really interested in this feature of near Fountain Creek, near Goodwine, moving off to the south and east. That's going to be about 5 miles to the north and west of Hoopeston, where that tornado warning is here. Hoopeston, again, I'm going to mention you a lot. You're next in line. I've got no indication from the National Weather Service that we're going to have a tornado warning extended into Vermilion County, but we continue to monitor East Lynn, Hoopeston, Illinois 9 to the east of East Lynn towards the state line. There's the new update here, very near Fountain Creek right now. That just came on in here at 9:05. That circulation, those greens and reds coming together, showing a couplet in place. And if I pull the correlation coefficient, that's our debris detector, debris tracker, what I'm looking for here is I'm looking to see if there's any blues showing up. I don't have anything that's sticking out to me from this particular one. I'll look at all 3 different sites to get an idea. We'll look at Chicago, we'll look at Lincoln, we'll look at Indianapolis. If I saw a core, a little circle of blue pop up there, that would indicate debris being lofted in the air. The way our debris tracker looks is it's looking at the particles or the objects it's sampling in the air. If they're all correlated, we see that high correlation, that red color in place. We see a dark blue column pick up there. That would be more of an indication of debris. So as of this point, I don't have anything that's showing a damaging tornado down, but still a very strong circulation now over Fountain Creek as it continues off to the south and to the east. The time now is 9:06. I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey. We missed the 9 o'clock news in WCIX. Jamie Mays is standing by waiting. We're hoping by 9:15 to be done with this if the storm continues off to the south and east. If that's the case, on CBS we'll go back to regular programming, and on WCIX we'll start the newscast at 9:15 based on the way things look now. Until then, though, we'll stay here and continue to broadcast for our friends in Iroquois County with this tornado warning that goes until 9:15. About 3 miles southeast of Cessna Park is where the area of circulation is that has my eye here. checking some of my other products, I'm really interested in that feature. It'll be about 3 or 4 miles north of East Lynn as well. That's an area that has my eye here. Seeing some signs, maybe it will continue to broaden. The latest update just came on in. Claytonville, Goodwine, Fountain Creek, Alonzo, Wellington, and some of those are small towns that we're watching here, south between Cissna Park and Hoopeston, with this storm moving off to the south and to the east. It's a close call here. We know we've got Vermilion County right on the edge. That is the National Weather Service in Lincoln's responsibility. Then we go to Iroquois and Benton counties. That's the National Weather Service in Chicago's responsibility. And then we catch Fountain and parts of Warren County in Indiana. That's the National Weather Service in Indianapolis. They all have different ideas, different thoughts. They work together, but we may see what happens is the storm may weaken enough where Lincoln may hold off on a tornado warning. If that's the case, we'll still be behind the scenes watching. If Lincoln does decide to extend the tornado warning, you'll get the update first in the areas that could be affected on the WCIA3 weather app. And if it's not, then we're just going to wrap things up here in about 8 minutes from now. That circulation really coming close to the county line. Let's take another area-wide view here, and I want to show you some of these other storms. Starting to see a stronger cell pop up to your Sibley, between Sibley and Melvin. That'd be near Strawn, right there by the curves on Illinois 47. And some more heavy rain from Roberts towards Melvin, pushing to the south and east towards Purduville, Paxton, Bales Lake, Lake Iroquois, Loda, and Buckley. No severe weather threat immediately with that, but likely some heavy rain and even some lightning here. Lightning's been one of the more impressive things with this storm. Starting to see some of those first strikes here in that cell east of Sibley. More of the impressive look is for that Iroquois County storm, the sign of all of that lightning in Iroquois County. Very much an indication of the strongest storm where the most lightning is. That's the way things tend to work for us here. Just got another update from the National Weather Service. They're continuing the tornado warning until 9:15 for Iroquois County. They also have the severe thunderstorm warning for Iroquois, Benton, and Vermilion counties that goes until 9:15. So likely in the next few minutes we'll get an understanding of the National Weather Service's next steps with this particular storm. And it seems like it may be cycling ever so slightly here. I'll tell you what though, by looking at the orientation of the storm, it gives me the idea that perhaps it's in a favorable environment to at least keep some rotation. Whether or not that means another tornado warning, we'll wait and see here. But there's a nice flat base here, enough to show some inflow, perhaps coming in here, and the wrapping around near Fountain Creek south of Claytonville. At this point, Cissna Park, all clear. Still Goodwine, Wellington, Claytonville. Give me some more time. East Lynn, Hoopeston, you're steps away from your shelter in case the warning comes out. Watching on the WCIA3 weather app, watching on digital platforms including Facebook and Twitter, or turning the volume up on your TV just in case you need to move to shelter here in these areas as we continue to monitor this. We'll mention we're watching the chats as well on our digital platforms if there are any updates. I will mention we're seeing reports of the sirens going off in Hoopeston. I think that's okay here. A lot of times what I like to suggest to folks is that the sirens you hear, we've got this mentality that they're tornado warning sirens, and I should hear them at any point and every point. First off, if you're sleeping or you're already seeing the rain and storms, you may not hear those. Not the most reliable way to get weather information. A weather radio, a great way to just get the information. We've had this go off on TV several times before when Champaign County's had alerts. Your WCIA3 weather app, you can program that for your location, get your alerts for that. Another great way, of course, TV watching like we're on now, another great way to stay informed here. With the Hoopeston sirens at this point, let's treat that as you need more information. I would encourage you to think of outdoor warning sirens, which are initially meant to be heard outdoors. That's a way to get more information to those folks that are outside. Folks that are inside may or may not hear them. You live next door like I did in Gibson City growing up. That siren went off in the middle of the night. We heard it. Our friends, though, on the south side of town didn't. You're sleeping, you can't really rely on. That's why that weather radio, the weather app are important ways that we stress for part of a severe weather safety plan. But with the sirens going off in Hoopeston, I think that's a sign that folks there probably turning on the TV, wondering what's going on. We're here for the tornado warning, but we've been saying East Lynn and Hoopeston next in line for this warning here, so we'll continue to monitor and keep an eye on things here. Seeing some reports of some power outages, brief power outages in parts of Iroquois County. I'm not surprised by that. There's been some real strong winds in that area, especially with storms that have gone through earlier in parts of Iroquois County. As I check the latest power outage numbers, we're seeing that the latest reports Sometimes they can be delayed, sometimes they're right on cue here. We've got about 500 customers without power in Iroquois County, and I'll get some information here more specifically about where that is, but we know there are at least some outages, a sign of at least damage in the area. Ameren reporting 466 customers without power. It looks like a majority of those are going to be near Milford and near Stockland, as well as Crescent City and Watseka. And I wonder here, in Watseka, looks like several hundred out in Watseka and a couple of hundred out in Crescent City as well. Wonder if that's going to have to do with the big power lines in US 24. They got those tall lines there along the railroad tracks, the Toledo, Peoria, and Western line there that goes on US 24. Maybe something happened with that. That's a main distribution line for the area. Until we get more information, though, we just know that this storm has had a history of damage given the power outages in that area. There were some indications earlier of 60 to 65 mile-an-hour winds with this storm. We're watching the storm closely here. Still, the tornado warning continues for Iroquois County. The time now 9:12. We should be a couple of minutes away here from deciding what's going to happen. So just for folks behind the scenes to know, behind the scenes, if we do exit coverage at 9:15, what we'll do is we'll go to WCIX, and I'll continue coverage there. And we'll get some news stories in too. I know Jamie's been working hard all day to keep things updated. If we get an extension of the tornado warning, then the newscast will pretty much stick a fork in it here. And we'll be covering it more on CBS and WCIX. But if you're watching us on WCIA and we switch coverage, we'll take it on to WCIX and probably continue that for a little while here until we get a further idea. But we will sneak a commercial break in there to reset, talk with Jamie real quick about what happens. Again, it's 9:13, 9:15, all of these warnings expire here. So right now, either the National Weather Service is going to allow this to expire, or they're going to continue the tornado warning and extend it. We'll find that out. Either way, we'll at least give a couple of minutes of leeway before we get an official word on their decision before we send it back to coverage here, especially since we're riding on the county line into northern Vermilion County, that is, near Hoopeston. Quick view area-wide. Let's just, again, we don't talk about everyone because not everyone's impacted. You can see your eyes are drawn to the splash of polygons and colors right there. That is going to be for the severe thunderstorm warnings and the tornado warning that go until 9:15. And we'll find out here in a minute. I think they're going to drop based on the initial thought. And just kind of getting those updates. They're working on their updates now, so we're going to find out here pretty closely. I will mention there's the indication of some stronger storms in Cass County now. The National Weather Service put out a special weather statement mentioning some strong gusty winds up to 40 miles an hour with storms coming from Schuyler County into Cass County here, Beardstown, Virginia, Littleton, Rushville sits right there. We'll watch that from afar. Just wanted to mention that and give a little love to our friends in West Central Illinois. Those storms will continue off to the south and to the east as it does so. The latest indication here, we're about 10 seconds away from figuring out what's going to happen. It looks like the National Weather Service, from what I'm seeing, is going to allow this to expire. I'm going to give myself a couple more minutes just to make sure that that's the case and we do get the all clear rather than dump out of coverage and then have to come back here. Sometimes, they take an extra few seconds to get things going, or they're typing information and letting us know now with that warning. So at this point, still Eastland, Hoopeston. There's no warning at now. 9:15, the warnings have expired. We'll wait and see here what's going on, and as we're doing that, we'll do a little radar analysis on things and continue to monitor closely here. The circulation for the, let's see here, kind of looking at different vantage points. The circulation in my mind, not all is evident here, showing signs that it's been cycling down. And we'll take another vantage point and another look here. And I'm checking over there, not seeing anything immediately indicating that there's going to be anything here. Still some gusty winds with these showers and storms as they carry off to the south and east. Still going to be some frequent lightning here. But at this point, I think we're going to be about 60 seconds away from going back to coverage. Again, if you're watching us on WCIA, on CBS, you live in those areas, you want more information, join us on WCIX. We'll have a shortened newscast and talk more about what's happening there. I'll leave the digital platform on and we'll continue to monitor things. But at this point now, the active warnings for Illinois have expired. We'll mention there still is a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for McLean, Ford, Iroquois, and Livingston counties. That's going to go until 10 o'clock. So there may be an isolated threat for Champaign-Vermilion County that continues a little while longer. We still have that level 2 risk that's been pulled down to Interstate 72-74 for mainly a gusty wind, but an isolated tornado threat, much like we've just had here in parts of central Illinois. And looks like the official word coming in that the National Weather Service is going to allow all warnings to expire, they say, and we agree that circulation now approaching Hoopeston has broadened and weakened substantially. The tornado threat now very low to near zero with that storm. If it spins up, though, we'll be back on TV bringing you more coverage. The time now is 9:17. I'm WCIA3 meteorologist Jacob Dickey. Thanks for sticking with us for our coverage of the severe weather threat in central Illinois. We're going to send it back to your regularly scheduled programming on CBS. Join us for our shortened 9 o'clock newscast on WCIX here in just a minute. Now back to your regularly scheduled program. All right, folks, if you're listening, we're just getting some things behind the scenes taken care of for the newscast really quick. You're seeing some transitions happen. Is in our ear, is that CBS or is that CIX? Also, I'm going to be at the pod. I have to be at the pod, I'm sorry. So we're just getting some things taken care of, and
it's X49.
Say it again.
X49 is in your ear.
X49, perfect, thank you.
So at 8:14, I'll say we'll have more news after this. We'll go to
Are they going to be able to see that screen?
run the package, and then.
This isn't the shot.
Perfect, thanks.
Oh wait, there's no. Yeah, we still running. Wait, okay. Yeah, I upload that. Okay.
Stand by.
It's been a bit of an active evening here in central Illinois. Had a splash of warnings across the region here. We're on WCIX News at 9, the shortened version now. Quick check at Storm Tracker Doppler. No active warnings in Illinois at this point. There's a batch of showers and storms in Ford, Iroquois, and Vermilion County. Those were the earlier problem makers here. They've weakened a bit, still some frequent lightning and gusty winds. Also some batches of showers and storms continuing off to the west here from Cass County into western Illinois. At this point, the severe threat continues to diminish. There's a severe thunderstorm watch that continues until 10 o'clock. We're going to watch these storms for a little while longer here, and hopefully in the next couple of hours things will take care of themselves. But still, we've been watching our SkyCam network showing lots of that lightning and thunder north and east of Champaign-Urbana. To get the full forecast updates, be sure and check the WCIA3 weather app. We've got all the information you need there. I'll have a full forecast update on the CBS News, the WCIA3 News at 10 on CBS. In the meantime, the shortened version of WCIX News at 9 starts right now. Done.
And that's why the community gathered outside today for a dance competition. Good evening, I'm Jamie Nates. Local activist group HB Neighborhood Transformation returned to King Park for a unity celebration. At King Park, families and friends gathered around to cheer on 3 local dance groups. The groups were Champion Heat, Shade, One Division, and Angelic Demons. The coaches say they wanted to be part of this to show there are positive outcomes for Black girls in the community. hosted. They'll have another community celebration next Saturday. And we now know the name of the man who died after being shot. It happened at Wellington Apartments. Police got to the scene just before 5 p.m. yesterday. The coroner says 26-year-old Javon Foster died at the hospital. Police say he was just outside a home when a suspect opened fire. One neighbor says it's usually a quiet neighborhood. Police say no one has been arrested. They're asking anyone who witnessed the shooting or has any video footage to give them a call. And volunteers in Champaign spent the afternoon brushing up on their skills. Champaign County Emergency Management Agency search and rescue team did an urban search training exercise. They practiced how to find a missing person in a park or neighborhood. They were at Robeson Park and Southwood Drive in Champaign. The EMA director says these trainings are important.
It's to make sure that they're keeping up to date with their skills and also learning new techniques and also just being familiar with all the different surroundings.
They're looking for more volunteers. Anyone who is interested should contact the Champaign County Emergency Management Agency. And 17 new Olympic COVID-19 cases were reported today, bringing the total to 127. The news came just hours after the opening ceremony that ended with Naomi Osaka lighting the Olympic flame. On Twitter, she called it undoubtedly the greatest athletic achievement and honor I will ever have in my life.
With a touch of the torch, Japanese tennis star Naomi Osaka got the games officially underway. Finally. Originally scheduled for last July, the Tokyo Olympics were postponed for a year while the world used lockdowns, face masks, social distancing, and eventually vaccines to make its way out of the pandemic. But a year later, the precautions remain. Instead of a global gathering of sports fans, the Olympic Stadium was largely empty. Masked athletes marched through an eerily quiet stadium, from the largest delegation, the U.S., with more than 600 athletes, to the smallest, more than a dozen nations only sending 2 competitors, to the 29 refugees competing without a nation. The family of U.S. flag bearer Eddie Alvarez cheered him on from the other side of the globe in Miami. Athletes' families couldn't make the trip.
It sure was overwhelming. No, I was not prepared for this. I thought I was going to be able to, stand, but it just hit me hard.
Instead of cheering crowds, it was mostly VIPs and dignitaries, like First Lady Jill Biden, looking on. International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach opened the Games by trying to put the pandemic in the past.
Today is a moment of hope. Yes, it is very different from what all of us had imagined. But finally, we are all here together.
But that message of solidarity didn't play on the streets. Protesters lined Tokyo, calling for the Games to be canceled amid rising COVID cases. A recent poll shows more than half of Japanese citizens oppose the Games going forward.
Because of the Delta variant and everything, and I just think it's insane, like what people who are living in Japan have to go through.
After surging in the springtime, cases here plunged to just over 1,000 in a day in mid-June. But they have since more than tripled in the last 30 days. Meanwhile, less than a quarter of Japan's 126 million people are fully vaccinated. Dr. Kenji Shibuya has helped direct Japan's vaccine rollout.
How do you think this Olympics is going to be received?
It is supposed to be a symbol of peace, unity, and according to the Prime Minister, the victory of the COVID pandemic. But currently it's totally opposite.
A moment of silence was held to honor the lives lost to COVID-19. And for the first time ever, the 11 Israeli athletes murdered at the 1972 Munich Games were remembered. Now that the pomp and pageantry is over, the competitions begin in earnest, including new Olympic sports like surfing, skateboarding, and 3-on-3 basketball, which tips off today.
And when it comes to 3-on-3 basketball, U.S. women's player Katie Lou Samuelson, she never made it to Tokyo after testing positive for COVID-19. She called it devastating.
All right, folks, if you're watching on our digital platforms, we're getting a little news in now. There are no active warnings. The tornado warning for Iroquois County has been canceled. So if you're in Hoopeston, Eastland, at this point, there's not an immediate threat of severe weather. Though, moving forth, we'll have to watch it and keep you updated on any more of these storms. We're going to watch it closely here, have an update. Join us for the full forecast, of course, on WCIA 3 News at 10 o'clock. The good news, again, that the warnings have all been let go into the region, so we'll continue to watch. Quick behind the scenes, how much time will I have for my last weather? Say it again?
Minute 30.
Minute 30, perfect. We'll do it full screen, and then I'll walk to the desk at the end. Max 1, please. So again, we're watching this and keeping an eye on it.
1 minute out.
Minute out?
Minute out.
Okay, perfect. I'm just going to arrange a few things behind the scenes and get a little weather update in here as we watch these showers and storms come on through. We knew there'd be a chance. The severe thunderstorm watch continues until 10. Behind the scenes, you're getting a little digital updates. So all warnings have expired. We're going to have an update here on TV, and then we're going to wrap our digital coverage up here momentarily.
15 out.
Perfect, thank you.
Your mic is hot off the top.
Continuing to watch the showers and storms from a distance here in this muggy summer night. Temperatures in the 70s, dew points right there with it. The severe thunderstorm watch continues until 10 o'clock for McLean, Ford, Iroquois, and Livingston counties. Once we get there, I think we may trend downward with that, but we're continuing to watch some of these showers and storms roll on through. Give you a quick zoom in here. Some heavy rain and lightning coming into Hoopeston. No immediate severe threat. We are, though, seeing a batch of storms erupt pretty quickly from Mahomet and Seymour towards parts of Champaign, and then more storms showing up as well off to the west. So we're going to watch all of those closely and have a full update on the radar coming up later. In the meantime, tonight we're down seeing those scattered showers and storms continuing for a couple of hours here. The later we go, the less severe, the less intense storms are going to be here. Still some rain and some thunder can be expected in parts of the area. By tomorrow morning, things looking a lot drier in central Illinois. Here's that 7-day forecast across the region. By tomorrow, I think things are looking pretty good in central Illinois here. Clouds will decrease. There may be a few spot showers and storms in parts of the region, generally down by Interstate 70, I think. But for the most part, tomorrow looks pretty good. Decreasing clouds, hot, hazy, and humid. As we see temperatures into the low 90s, they'll stay in the 90s, Jamie, as we go into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Some of those heat index values at times could be between 100 and 105, if not a little higher. We've got some more scattered storms on Thursday, Friday, into the weekend. We'll have a full forecast update coming up tonight at 10.
All right, thanks, Jacob. We'll see you on WCIA at 10.
All right, everyone, if you're watching us on our digital platforms, a quick update. Again, storms erupting pretty quickly here in Champaign County, very near Mahomet. The rain coming down quickly. That storm rolling on into Champaign-Urbana, and we'll see if there's any lightning with it being detected. Looks like a lot of lightning, so by now the fairgrounds are going to be probably shutting down. Lots of lightning in the western sky here, that storm erupting. There's not a warning for it.
This is your WCIA 3 forecast first.
But we'll continue to watch it closely here.
You're watching your local news leader. This is
There's a chance that I
WCIA
can
3.
get one of the cameras pointed at me so I can show some things. I'm going to keep our digital coverage going here. And that way we're letting folks know more about what's happening there. Again, getting some things kind of twisted around behind the scenes and watching and getting some things done. That's the way things roll here. You know, we kind of switch in between shows. We'll keep that digital coverage going and continuing to monitor things here, and that's what we're going to do here. So again, watching the radar and taking a look at the sky cam. I'm going to pull the sky cam up because folks are saying the lightning really becoming, ooh, wow, look at that. We're getting quite a lightning show here in Champaign-Urbana as that storm is rolling on in. By now, folks at the fairgrounds should be out of the area. I have no warnings at this time. Again, reiterating, there are no warnings at this time, but we're going to watch these storms closely here. A very unstable atmosphere and just a touch of wind shear is all we need for some things to get a little out of hand. And so we're going to watch this and take a peek here. As I try and do an autofocus, I'm going to have to zoom down a little bit and get my focus, and then that's what we'll do here. So we're going to get that reset, and as it does so, we're going to go back to radar. Okay, so we're looking at radar now here. Let me go ahead and pull in my switcher, the corrective button here. So there we go. Now we're set. That storm pretty much erupted pretty quickly here over the Champaign-Urbana area. I've got no severe weather immediately likely. Not a major concern, but we're seeing every so often some of those big flashes of lightning as the heavy rain now starting to come down in the west side of town. And again, the camera's a little blurry. Ooh, look at that. That's a pretty neat little feature there. So we're going to watch it all and keep a very close eye on it here for a little while longer. Let's go back to the radar while we watch that and continue to monitor things here. There are no active warnings at this point, and that's good news, though we know the storm threat not over. We're watching this little storm here in Champaign County, and I'll say that the storm threat is over because the original text on this post is going to say tornado warning. That's when it first came out in Iroquois County. That warning is expired. No warnings in Vermilion County, but this storm erupting pretty quickly here. I don't see anything that's concerning as far as rotation goes in Champaign County, so that's some good news, but some breezy winds and some heavy rain expected with that as it continues to develop and moves on into town here. More of those spot showers and storms in Cass County continuing. That will be Cass and Morgan, maybe Sangamon County. This cluster of storms here in Iroquois and Vermilion County has been the storms of the day for us. There's no warnings with it at this point, and we'll take a look at our velocity, kind of peek on through. We're looking at how the wind is moving in these storms, and it looks much quieter than it did earlier. That's good news here. So we like to see that. I don't see anything that's concerning as far as a tornado threat with those storms. Definitely some heavy rain and definitely the lightning. Look at that lightning here showing up. Hoopston, an electrical storm now in place. Quite some lightning and thunder in Cissna Park also, and then quite an electric storm here even in Champaign. In fact, in the last 15 minutes here, this storm has had about 70 strikes, 69 strikes. And a number of those are also positive strikes. Usually you have a lot of negative strikes. The positive strikes are an indication that this storm is quite powerful. And so that doesn't surprise me here as it comes into Champaign. So we're going to watch it and keep a close eye on it here. Still some gusty winds may be possible, but there's no immediate concerns for severe weather. Obviously a thunderstorm you don't want to be outdoors in, but that rain now coming down. You know, we look at here, Marketplace Mall seeing heavy rain, Urbana High School there, the fairgrounds sit north of that 150 placard. That's where I know folks are out and about tonight. So, storm's moving in. We're going back to our Skycam here and looking at the Woods Basement System Flooring America iNet camera. And that lightning coming down and continuing to do so here. What I want to do is I'm also going to switch to my stadium camera. I'm going to turn that one around so we can get a vantage point here. I've got it looking to the south now. I'm going to turn it to the west, and then I'll pull it up for you as we watch that. There's a lot of instability in the atmosphere tonight. There is a touch of wind shear, so we just got to watch it. And enough of that was to materialize in Iroquois County, where we had the tornado warning for an area of rotation near Cissna Park. And now we're looking a little more south and west. I'll turn this even more. Ooh, spooky looking clouds here. Okay, so I'm going to pull that camera up now. I'm going to show you our stadium camera, our Adams Memorial Stadium camera. That one also looking to the west. So it should pop up here in just a second. As we continue to monitor here. Again, Champaign-Urbana, there are no warnings in the area. I'm going to say that a lot until there are some, just because of the text of the original post here. When we first got on live, there was a tornado warning. That's not the case anymore, but we're still staying on our digital platforms just to provide some extra coverage for our friends here in Champaign-Urbana. Overall, the threat today has been pretty low. It's not been zero. But we squeezed out enough where we had that circulation form near Cissna Park. I have not heard of any damage or power outages in that area. And I'm just checking that information again to see. It looks like no power outages being reported in Cissna Park, though Crescent City and Woodland and Watsika, I should say, are reporting outages. About 500 customers out from what it looks like. And there's also some customers in Hoopeston. Boy, that lightning is something else to see here as we continue to watch this storm in Champaign. An electrical storm moving into town here. By now, the fairgrounds have closed down. They're done. Folks are getting out and avoiding that summer instability, allowing for these storms to erupt pretty quickly here across the region. They'll continue to do so. They've got a bit of a southward component, but there also is some eastward movement also. So east and southeast. So this storm will be heading towards Homer and Philo and Sydney, maybe towards St. Joe. It could make its way as far south as Georgetown Ridge Farm. But we'll watch it here. You know, some of that lightning getting close to Danville. It looks like also the severe threat, though, continues to wane here for a while. So as we watch, I know folks are probably checking on in and asking what's going on. We did earlier have a tornado warning in Champaign County. That is not the case anymore. We do have a storm. We had a tornado warning in Iroquois County. That is not the case. We're now watching a storm in Champaign County. A lot of lightning in the west side of Champaign, moving into the north side of Champaign. We can hear, look at that. That lightning, just pretty impressive here. And so we're going to continue to watch, keep an eye on it here. I'll give you one last radar update, and I'm going to wrap this up here and get ready for the 10 o'clock news, and probably hit a reset on the digital since we have no more active warnings. But that little cell, pretty potent lightning producer. A lot of instability that storms can take advantage of here, and they are doing that in Champaign County with the storm now from Mahomet and Seymour towards Champaign, pretty quickly getting going here as that boundary pushes to the south. We'll mention, let me real quick, just take a look at rainfall totals here. I suspect we're going to see some areas with 2 to 3 inches from Watsika to Cissna Park to Milford and Hoopeston as storms train over that area. I have not heard if there is let's see. No flash flood alerts at this time, but that probably is some flooding in parts of Iroquois County. And so that's what we're going to watch and keep our eyes on for a little while longer. So that storm too, you can see real quickly that green color, how quickly it's put down. That's kind of in the no man land between Mahomet, Seymour, and Champaign there, south of 150 towards, say, Staley Road and the Andersons. You know, get a quick inch of rain in half an hour with that. These are some heavy rainfall producers moving into town, so that's going to be the story. All right, that's what I have for you here. We're going to wrap this up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to log off of our digital platforms. I know storms are rolling on in. No warnings in place. I'll put a social media post out there, and then we'll have the latest updates on TV only on WCIA 3 News at 10. If need be, we will jump back to our digital platforms. Yes, storm rolling into Champaign now. No tornado warning, no severe thunderstorm warning. A summertime storm with some heavy rains, maybe some gusty winds. That's about it here. We're going to wrap this coverage up and see you on WCIA 3 News at 10 o'clock. Take care.